Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another speed build. After building a tiny house last time, I felt like building another huge mansion. You guys just know that I love to work on huge builds. So what I did here was I raised the terrain in the front and then I worked on a slope. I smoothed out that area so the Sims will actually be able to walk up that slope. So as soon as your terrain is smoothed out, so you can change the color of the terrain, your Sims will be able to walk up. So when a slope is too steep, so you have this dark brown color and you cannot change it, then it's too steep. So you have to make sure that you smooth it out a lot so it will work. And then sometimes it's still a bit tricky, so just make sure that it works, and then you can also reshape the terrain a little bit. This is what I did here later on off camera. I tried to let a Sim walk up and then there were a couple of problems, so I just smoothed it out a bit more. So you just have to work on it a little bit. I also used a waterfall for this build. This waterfall is part of island living. So if you want to use this, it's a debug object. You have to activate the bb.liveeditobjects cheat. You have to enter word into the search bar and then you can find it. I'm going to add a brief description about finding this waterfall to the description box because I'm sure that a lot of people will ask themselves how to hunt down this waterfall. So I think this will be much easier because after I've used this waterfall in another build, I got many questions about this, even though I explained it in the video. So I'm going to add a brief description. I also know that not everyone listens to the audio, so I think a short description might be a good idea here. Of course, I also included a couple of round shapes. This goes without saying. You guys just know that I like to do that. I used a half circle for this. I just wanted to have some type of patio area there. At this point, to be honest, I had no idea what I'm actually working on. So I have been struggling with a bit of builder's block recently. This happens when you are building a lot. At some point you're just running out of ideas, you don't feel inspired, you don't feel motivated. I don't know, it just happens and you have no idea what to build. It's almost like you forgot the shape of a normal house, kind of. I don't know, it's a horrible, weird feeling. So I built 2 houses before this one here and I just hated it. It turned out so weird, I just didn't feel inspired, and then I started to work on this build here, and this was the first build that I really liked. But I had no idea what type of house I would add. I just worked on the landscaping and this inspired me. After I just added this round section and the waterfall and all the flowers and plants and the terrain, at this point I knew that I'm inspired and that I really like to work on this. So I'd say if you don't feel inspired, if you have no idea what to build, just move on and build something new. This is always fun. The other house that I built was some type of modern cabin build. And I think that the concept is not bad, and I definitely want to build another modern cabin for you guys if you would be interested. But the one that I built just didn't turn out to be, I don't know, the shape was just weird. It looked dark and kind of gloomy. I have no idea what happened there, but I didn't like it. And here I'm raising the terrain once again. So eventually I included 2 slopes. There's one slope leading up to the main level, you could say, and then I added another one which leads up to this area that I just raised. And I had no idea what to put there. Eventually, as you saw in the beginning, I added the round gazebo there. But at first I only included a half circle, and then I just ditched that plan and I built a regular circle. If you want to build a perfect circle, I've explained this before, but maybe you have no idea. If you want to build a perfectly round circle using the foundation or floor piece in The Sims 4, you have to use the one that already has a fence attached to it, the round foundation piece. It's a quarter circle, and you just make it 1 tile smaller on both sides. You get rid of the fence, then you just copy this piece of foundation and you create a perfect circle or a half circle, so the shape is not all wonky and weird, because if you're using the regular round foundation piece without a fence attached to it, then it's not perfectly circular. So I really like to use this one whenever I'm working on something like this. And after I worked on this area, to be honest, the gazebo area that I'm about to work on, I just had to add a house. So I had no idea what style to go for. The house itself is inspired by Mediterranean architecture, but I didn't really want to create a full-on Mediterranean mansion this time around. So I didn't add the typical roof pattern, so it's kind of a mashup of different styles. I just wanted this to be very dreamy. Sometimes I really like to go for a specific architectural style and then I never really nail it, because I always just add some fantasy elements, a lot of stuff that I like to add, so it's never really 100% one specific architectural style most of the time. But here I just thought, I don't know, I just wing it, I just try to build something that looks a bit fun. So here at this point I added some island living flowers or bushes. They have this almost peach color and I just like the kind of contrast. There is a lot of lavender going on, then we have this hot pink. These are some base game debug bushes, and then these island living peach bushes. So the color combination is just very inviting, friendly, and fairy tale like almost. And here I'm smoothing out the terrain a bit more, and usually when you place a piece of foundation like this, your Sims should be able to just step on the foundation because the height difference is not too high. But here in this case, it didn't work out, so I had to add stairs to the round section, which totally works. Because instead of using a regular fence, I decided to use a get together object. It's just a decorative object and it looks like a fence. You can combine multiple of these objects to create a regular normal looking fence. And when you are holding down Alt and your left mouse button, you can rotate objects freely, and this way I was able to align the fence with the round shape with the gazebo. So the reason why I did that is when you add a fence to a round section like this, the fence is going to enclose the complete round section. So there isn't any gap where you could add some stairs, for example. So I just left this gap open by manually adding this get together fence. So I just added it all around. I left open 2 gaps, and then I was able to add some white stairs. And because of the very thick exterior trim that I used all around the bottom of this gazebo, the stairs aren't even visible. I used the white Get Famous ones. Whenever I'm using some white stairs, I really like to use these. And they're almost invisible. I mean, if you really zoom in and look for them, you can see them, but they are really well hidden by the exterior trim, so you still have your perfect round shape here. So as I said, I was going for something that was inspired by Mediterranean architecture, at least a little bit. To really nail this look, you have to add the typical reddish roof pattern. I didn't do that. As you already saw in the beginning, I used a base game beige roof pattern. But to really have a little bit of that Mediterranean feel, I added these Get Famous arches. I really like to do that for anything that's Mediterranean. They just add a lot to the style in my opinion. So they are part of Get Famous, as I said, and the whole pack has this very Beverly Hills over the top mansion feel, and this is an amazing object if you really want to build an over the top mansion, maybe even something that's really in the pack's style, something that you would imagine to see in Beverly Hills, for example. Then this arch is just perfect to make a build look very special. Especially if you are not using any CC, if you want to create something that's super over the top, just size up that arch and create some amazing, spectacular entry area, for example. But here I sized it up and down. I just used different arches to have a bit of that Mediterranean feel. For some reason, it's just perfect for that style, in my opinion. One of these arches is actually visible from the inside, so it's kind of glitching through the wall, which is generally not a good thing, but I didn't want to remove or move the arch. So what I did was I just hit the arch, as you will see, and I created some spectacular fireplace area, and I think it turned out to be amazing, even though it's super over the top, but that's okay for a build like this. So sometimes when you're using an arch like this, if you really place it almost inside the wall, you have to really think about, I don't know if you want to implement it on the inside, if you may want to move it a bit forward so it's not glitching through the wall. So this is something that you have to keep in mind when you are using this object. I also added some trellis using the smallest half wall height available. Usually months and months ago, before I found out about this, I always used one of the base game fences. It's this very low, super small fence that's not really high. Like this is a super small one that you could use to create a flower bed, for example. But then I figured this half wall is just perfect, especially for anything Mediterranean. So just another word of advice, if you want to have a Mediterranean build or something in this style, you can create some trellis using this half wall height and then just add a bit of, I don't know, wood wallpaper, and then, I don't know, it just looks so amazing, even though it's very, very easy. Also, there are some news in the Sims community. As you guys know, we could vote for a stuff pack. So there is a community voted stuff pack, and the overall theme is arts and crafts. And then we were able to vote for the artistic style, and the winner is the do-it-yourself one. So there were 3 different ones, one industrial looking one granny one, and then the DIY one. So I definitely expected the granny one to win, because I know that many players have been requesting stuff for elders, because elders are kind of useless in this game. This sounds horrible, but once your Sims just reach this age, there's not much that you can do with them. It would be amazing if there would be some objects for elders, I don't know, knitting specifically for them, maybe even something like, I don't know, maybe call grandma to take care of the grandchild, for example. I don't know, sleepovers at grandma and grandpa, stuff like this. I don't know, just stuff like this, for example. I don't know, I'm not really a player anymore, I'm just building. I'm a builder, so I don't really feel strongly about this, but I know that a lot of people do, so I totally expected the granny theme to win, but DIY won, which was super surprising to me. I definitely expected the granny chic one to win. Some people seem to be super pleased with the vote and how it turned out so far. Some people are not that happy, which is understandable, but I mean, the majority of the community clearly wanted the DIY pack to win, DIY theme to win. So I mean, I think it's fair. With a vote like this, there's always to be a group of people who is going to be a bit disappointed, because of course some people are voting for a different theme that is not going to win. This always happens. For the overall theme, for example, I voted for Happy Haunts, and Happy Haunts didn't win, obviously, because then Arts and Crafts was the winner for the theme, and now we were able to vote for the artistic theme, and again, people are going to be very happy and some are going to be a bit disappointed, but after all, it's just a stuff pack. I know we all love this game so much. For many here, it's our favorite game ever, and I understand that, but I think whatever we are going to get, it's going to be amazing. A couple of new cute objects. It's just a stuff pack after all, not an expansion pack. I mean, an expansion pack is a big deal. We have a new world, new functions, but for a stuff pack, it's usually, the hype is usually not that big. I mean, it might be a bit different for the tiny house one that is going to be released, but usually a stuff pack just adds a couple of cute objects to the game. It's not that big of a deal. So I think, however, the stuff pack that we could vote for is going to look like in the end, I think it's going to be super cute, especially from what I've seen from the pictures. Also, I think that people are right that there should be more for elders, but I also think that this overall topic is so serious, kind of. It could add so much to the game that granny chic wouldn't even be enough to solve that problem, because this is really just a age group in this game that has nothing to do, really. It seems like the gurus kind of forgot about them, about the elders, or I don't know, maybe there is going to be some pack for this in the future, and I think this would even be better. I don't think that granny chic would really solve all these problems. Knitting is going to be included either way, so you can let your elders knit when the pack is out either way, but I really hope that there might be a game pack or something for elders, because so many people are requesting it. As I said, I'm just a builder. I don't feel strongly about this, but after reading so much about this and the opinions of so many simmers, it totally makes sense. There should be something included for elders, and I don't think that Granny Chic is enough for this. Maybe a retirement home, just all kinds of different things, and this would be amazing. So let's hope that there will be an amazing pack for elders at some point. It would add so much gameplay wise. Just think of Parenthood, for example. It was a game pack with a focus on just parenthood, and that's amazing. We got many new objects. I just love the whole art style of this pack, and it was such a great idea. So Parenthood worked out so well. It's one of the best game packs ever in my opinion. So I think a game pack for elders would totally work out probably. But enough about all this. As you just saw, I started to work on the interior. So I was going for a modern interior. The colors are very soft, almost like pastels. I used this gray wall color, which also has a very slight pink tint. Then the bathrooms have this beige color. They're also very bright and very inviting. The floor, on the other hand, is super dark. It's the jungle adventure one. I wanted to create a contrast. So there are 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and the house sits on top of the terrain. So the majority of the bottom section, it's just terrain really. So the house looks super big, but it's not. You only have 2 bedrooms, you have 2 bathrooms. It's all on one level, so it's almost like a bungalow. At the very bottom, there's just a door and stairs leading up to this level. There's nothing else, just a little pool that looks like a fountain or something, just for decorative purposes. So this level here includes all your Sims need. You don't have to go up or down to different levels, and I know that a lot of Simmers enjoy this, so maybe this house is perfect for you and your Sims. And this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you can find this build in the gallery. It's fully furnished. I didn't use any CC, so you can just download it and let your Sims move in if you would like to. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a perfect day, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.